the edge of the universe, 400 men and women are probing the immeasurable blackness of space. Their leaders are an Earthman with no fear and a stranger with no heart. Travel beyond our time and solar system, into new galaxies, into worlds beyond your dreams. Star Trek, every week, in color.
It's Tuesday. It's 3 p.m. Pacific. Here we are on the internet. So holy cow, it must be time for serious Star Trek. Welcome back, guys. I'm Dantron. I'm your engineer, but I've got your host. That's right. The crew is reunited. You know him, you love him as Captain Fun. Let's welcome Larry Young and welcome back to the one and only Dr. John E. Price, PhD, redundantly PhD'd. The Dr. John. Hey, Doc.
Thank you. It means
John
so much for me to be
Price.
here today.
And
I have a question right off the bat. Yeah, right off the bat. Which one of us is the Earthman without fear, and which one of us is the alien with no heart?
Yeah.
Man,
there's a lot of things that scare me.
I'll take either one because I think that's awesome. That's my prefer. I'm super glad that Dan found that because that's real legit Star Trek and nobody knows that. So now that's our thing. That's the serious Star Trek beginning. And
especially not Alex Kurtzman.
I'll take either one.
In my mind, Larry has no fear and John has no heart. In my heart of hearts.
Yes. That's exactly
what I was just going to say, if I have to choose, I'll take the Earthman just because, I'm a human racist.
That's fair.
I just don't think that I would look like a good alien. Like, you could do a Klingon, but like I'm already bald. I would just look like look like Larry that got hit in the head or something.
You'd make a good TOS Klingon. Like we just brown you up.
Okay, I'll take that.
Put some Genghis Khan eyebrows.
Yeah, all right.
Wow,
now I'm excited.
Pretty good at that. Like a General Chang type. Just quoting Shakespeare.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that.
The original shit.
Yeah. I like the old swarthy Klingons. I really did when they're just like, just bring some brown guys in here. Bring them in. That's all they need.
It wasn't even that. It was Italian guys with some shoe polish on their face.
I love it. Yeah. I just love the idea that we're like, no, Italians aren't brown enough. Gotta brown them up.
Right, you need to brown them up.
You gotta brown them up.
You guys.
Hey, okay, we got our old pal John Centris out there. Hey, John.
Johnny S.
Sorry, John. Wait a minute. I didn't mean that.
Oh my God! Did you just boo John?
I had the wrong.
There you go.
Sorry about that,
John. There you go. Incoming message from John Centris.
So yeah, John wants to hear about Lower Decks. I don't know what else is on the Star Trek.
So I think I should address the audience real quick. I think I should address my conspicuous absence. Starfleet Command, in their infinite wisdom, has decided to transfer me back to my natural stomping grounds at Starfleet Academy, and there I teach Earth history to a bunch of people who maybe one day would like to go to the academy, maybe one day would like to work on repairing shuttles for a living. I don't know what their future holds. But because of that, my schedule made it prohibitive for me to attend our Friday soirees. Thus, the crew was very generous in rescheduling and revamping in a way that would allow me, the educator of Starfleet's future, to come back and join all of you fine people. So that's where I've been.
I was a victim of marketing because Larry's whole thing from the beginning was Fridays at noon on the internet. Friday. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, no, we have to sacrifice our one-on-one time together as a couple so that I can do this thing on Friday. And then here we are, the first time we did it on Tuesday at 3. I'm like, this is way better for me anyway.
It's better for me. That's for sure.
I think it's all smoothed out.
Yeah, I think as long as
changing it now was just smooth. It's just a matter of finding what's a good time we can all three sit down. That's all.
Yeah,
And Tony.
And what are we going to talk about, guys? What do you want to talk about?
Here's where I need to make an announcement. I have some bad news. I haven't watched Lower Decks yet.
Oh no.
Me neither. I am very. I watched the first episode and I haven't seen them since.
I just kind of feel badly because the first of all, it's on Thursday. I kind of have no excuse, right? It's like 5 days later.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff going on, and
there's a lot of good TV on.
Everybody's saying that it was great and there was a cool cameo, and can't believe they're doing Star Trek stuff like this in the cartoon. And I'm like, really? This is the one I didn't see anyway.
And it's so funny because you and I and the three of us have been promoting Lower Decks back when nobody liked Lower Decks. They're like, oh, I'm not going to watch a cartoon, and we're like, no, they're great. They're doing actual Star Trek again. And then here we are, lives, and everyone else is caught up. And we're like, yeah, I need to get Nancy's password again. I'm sorry.
Don't you find, though, that's the life of an influencer. We were there right at the beginning. Yeah. We told you what was going to happen with Discovery before it happened.
Right.
We're your Star Trek gurus. So we gotta find something else to like now.
You influence your way to the top, and then the top passes you by.
Yeah, then it's like, season 3 of Lower Decks. So good luck, plebs. Anyway.
Good times. So anyway.
So yeah, the one thing that we should be talking about, Lower Decks, we're probably not gonna.
Yeah.
Because
give me a week. I've been out of the Star Trek loop. Starfleet Academy High School has really been screwing me up. So in terms of my schedule.
That's your cover story for Section 31, though, right?
Yes.
You're on a secret mission, man.
Section 31 does not exist, if anyone asks.
Officially, right?
Ever, allegedly.
But John, I was just thinking about what a gift it would have been for me in high school to find out that my new high school English teacher, is it English?
History.
Earth history. Oh, okay, better. Earth history teacher has got a regular Star Trek themed podcast going on. Like,
I wonder how they'll react when they inevitably find out. Because my laptop that I hook up with my LCARS database has a big giant Star Trek thing on it. So I wonder if they've ever put that together.
The dots have started to be connected.
It is 2022 though. Are we at the point where like Star Trek isn't that just kind of like,
it's a little blasé.
Dr. Price collects stamps.
Right.
Oh, he's got a Star Trek podcast.
I'm pretty sure one person in my AP Earth history class, I'm pretty sure they positively compared me to a character named Happy. And as far as I know, the only character that I know of named Happy in pop culture is Happy Hogan.
Okay.
Right? So
that was the first one I thought of.
Right. So I'm pretty sure, and she couldn't remember where it was from. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and said that she finds Jon Favreau an amazing person.
Seven Dwarfs? There's a Happy of the Seven Dwarfs, right?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm not dwarf. So
yeah, you're the opposite of a dwarf.
Pretty sure.
If you like 8'3" or something.
Scale, but yes, those were the two characters that came up when I Googled it.
Yeah, I think there was some kind of 1950s thing named Happy Hooligan, right? But
I doubt she was that.
Yeah, that's clearly not it, and no. I doubt it's Happy and Doc.
I'll take it as a compliment and leave it at that.
I just think it's cool that somebody, some regular person kind of knows who Iron Man's best friend is.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I am Iron Man's best friend.
Anyway. Well, you had the suitcase armor. That was cool. How about the new Quantum Leap? I watched the first one. I didn't see Mondays. But
that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear about.
What's the deal with Bakula? Is he in it? Is he not in it? Is he playing coy? What's going on here?
He said he's not in it. They sent him a script. He had to decline and wishes them the best of luck.
That's what I read, but then I've also seen people being like, "Oh, it's just a big decoy. He's going to show up the season finale."
I mean, that's what the audience wants.
Yeah,
like
that is what.
Anyway, I don't know. Did you guys watch it? Because I have some thoughts about the show. I love the old show. I have a Ziggy like 15 feet away from me. And this was like the weirdest ass show because the tone is all over the place. It's trying to be Quantum Leap, for 2022. So there's kind of like, look at these cool changes that we've done. But then it's like they write it in this flat 1970s way that TV does not do anymore. So if you're my age or older, you're probably going to be like, yeah, they nailed it. I don't know about that guy who kind of looks like a girl, but whatever. That's what's happening in the cities. Like
speaking of nailing it, I think Steve Ukraine here nails it because it's not like they sent him a script and he didn't like the script. They sent him an offer. He didn't like the number on the offer. Come on, Scott. Yeah. What are you doing? You're too busy. You're nitpicking. You got too many notes on your.
I just think
on the pilot.
Here's the thing on that. Like they just announced today, like about half an hour ago, that Hugh Jackman is playing Wolverine in Deadpool 3. So if that kind of thing gets set up in the movies, which is, ostensibly, Tinseltown, Hollywood, you can't get Scott Bakula to be on Quantum Leap for 10 minutes. You kind of have no
Bakula doing.
You have no excuse anymore.
Remember that show? Bakula did with Ray Romano about old guys in their midlife?
Yeah, that's the last time we saw that dude. Yeah,
that was a weird show. I kind of like that show.
Yeah, I never saw
it. So wait a minute. I'm confused though. So what's the new premise? Is it just a reboot, a remake? Is it tied in?
It's literally. I don't know if you guys know this, but every leap year, I put this post off that like updating Quantum Leap, and it's basically I just write the beginning again, and it's basically what everyone expects. Right, a new guy comes in, finds the things, flips the switch. So he's accidentally sprayed through time, and hopefully he has a hologram that can. It's exactly Quantum Leap, except his hologram isn't his best friend; it's his girlfriend. Ooh. So it kind of hamstrings the show because now when he gets into a girl's body or he gets into some guy's body whose whole story of making right is he's got to bone this girl, his literal girlfriend is going to be there that only he can see and hear. Like. I don't like that. Just it's bad. They did that with Invisible Man in 1975, and they had to cancel it.
That's a weird choice.
No one's gonna get that reference except John.
I don't get that.
It's just the Invisible Man was married, so you couldn't do Girl of the Week stories. And so I dropped that reference for a show that had 13 episodes and the cover of Dynamite, and expected anyone to get that reference.
That's why
shame on you.
That's why the kids tune into serious Star Trek,
right?
For Invisible Man references.
I'm just putting out data for the time that the AI in the future tries to reboot my consciousness collected on all the dumb shit that I've written and said.
But weren't you telling me recently that fans were writing you about Invisible Man porno fan fiction?
Oh yeah, when I did the bod for Double Image, yeah, about the.
Oh yeah, just when I did that Invisible Man porno fan fiction. To a major comics publisher.
It wasn't porno, man. I would proudly do porno. Astronauts in Trouble started as Astronauts in Trouble. But I had to go legit. That's where the financing came from.
I'm mixing it up with the Milo Manara stuff again. In my mind, it was the same.
Yeah, you're kind of catching John up on all the stuff we talked about.
Totally.
Cool.
Graphic novel called Butterscotch, man, you would love. The art is just insanely detailed and good, all in service of people rubbing butterscotch on each other and turning invisible and then boning.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
fantastic.
It's a good.
That's what I call Werther's original.
Wow, that stopped it dead.
All right, good job.
Oh, see, I told you John Suntrace would get my reference to Dynamite. The original kid, yeah. Quantum Leap. I don't know. I agree with Tony. I think Bakula will show up.
That feels like a bait and switch with Bakula, if not, because it's like I don't think you can greenlight a new Quantum Leap with Bakula without Bakula in some way involved.
At least, like, if they can't afford a series Bakula, they can afford a cameo Bakula.
Yeah,
you know,
Right. No, I get him not being in the show. Like dude is 75. Nobody wants to commit to, shooting a show, even if you get to sleep in your own bed at night. It's still 14-hour days. And but like I would just have him be the God character at the end and have him find, oh, you got to me, man. You win. Let's go. Everybody goes home now. You didn't hear from me ever again until just now. The end. Series end.
I'm kind of ashamed to admit, like, what was the ultimate end resolution of the Quantum Leap series, Larry? Where did Sam end up?
So the last couple series was him tangling with an evil leaper who was messing stuff up. And they basically come out and say that the leapers are angels of God and the evil leapers are demons of the devil. And God is played by I forget the actor's name, D-Day from Animal House. He's in everything. He's actually an FDR American badass, but I know that doesn't help anybody. Geez, somebody like if Sagasag is listening, he should know who I'm trying to think of. Anyway, he's in this ephemeral sort of bar set, right? And it's supposed to be he's outside of time and space.
Bruce McGill,
thank you. And he's outside of time and space, and the bartender kind of the way he's talking, he's God. And he basically says, I'm sorry, Sam, but you're my agent now. You have to go do this forever. And then they throw up a title card that says, nobody, he fixed Al and his divorcee and divorced wife and all that. So the final episode was fixing something for Al. And then he goes off into the world and was never heard from again. So that's why you kind of can't have him in this show, because you have to, you'd spend the whole first season answering that. Right? Oh, well, he did come home again, I guess, and restarted the thing. And then now there's this new guy we follow. You kind of have to either have him just not be in it or, be a surprise thing every once in a while.
But did he leap at the end, or what was his ultimate,
Yeah, he leapt out, and then there was a title card that said he's never seen again or heard from again. Oh, boy. There's no more, oh, boy. And yeah, it was very unsatisfying for Quantum Leap.
Very, very.
But I'm sure they'll Belisario it up.
Nice.
I think that's part of the tone. I think Donald Belisario has a lot of say, even as an old man, for what's going on. Or the guys that are writing and producing it are really super big fans of the show, because it's just tonally, it's just the same thing. And it's like, man, that's TV 40 years ago.
Do you think Donald Belisario is underrated or overrated? Because he's a very big.
He's no Glenn Larson.
True. Very true.
I don't know what I can tell you. Battlestar Galactica's Glenn Larson, Buck Rogers. I can't name another Belisario show.
Jag.
That's what I was just trying to think.
Okay, I like the name Jag.
I've never seen that show.
No, Belisario does all those like weird, like cheesy military related, like Pensacola Wings of Gold. Magnum PI, I think, is Belisario.
That would be Magnum would be the one, right? No. That would be.
I mean, after Pensacola, you got Magnum.
Anyway. I need somebody to tell me who did Magnum, because it's not Glenn Larson, but and it's not Stephen J. Cannell, but I don't think it's Belisario either.
All right, well, we'll find out. The chat will inform us.
I'm surprised. He's no Quinn Martin. Oh, Tony.
That's
Slater.
Real master.
Yeah. The chat says Belisario.
Oh yeah,
Magnum.
Did
Airwolf?
John says Belisario did Magnum too.
Well, I trust John Saunders. So.
Yeah, exactly. Who's to argue that? It's like,
dude,
you're not right. I don't know who you're trying to fool.
Airwolf, that's great. Tales of the Gold Monkey, I never heard of. Jag, with multiple spinoffs, and NCIS. Those are like two shows that were like mega hit network TV hits after the like network TV was past its prime. Yeah. But there's still humongous franchises on TV that a lot of old people watch.
NCIS is such a weird show because like they're not good, but like they still keep going. It's very odd. I don't understand.
Who said the thing about Tales of the Gold Monkey? I can't find that.
I see that here on Wikipedia.
Oh, it's on Facebook. Because that guy's brilliant. Because that show never made it to air as Tales of the Gold Monkey. It was called Tales of the Brass Monkey. So if he knows the Gold Monkey thing, that's old school awesomeness. Whoever that is, you deserve a Quatlu. But that show was great, man. It was the guy who plays Decker in the Star Trek the motion picture. Anyway,
Stephen Collins.
Stephen Collins plays this Indiana Jones character, basically, with one of the guys.
Ryan McDowell's in it too, huh?
Yeah, and yeah, it's a great show. I love it. I have the DVD somewhere. Anyway,
Stephen Collins, he get in trouble for like sexual abuse or something.
Yeah, he's after the young girls.
Yeah,
but
it really,
you know,
it really puts a dark streak on the motion picture.
Does it?
No.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, Hollywood really put a blemish.
Yep. Good old Seventh Heaven. You know, you gotta love it.
Oh my God! Did you see?
Oh, that's that. That is that dude, huh? That's who that. Oh my gosh!
And Julian Taylor, humpback whale biologist, is in
from Star Trek 4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna make some kind of joke. That's what happens when you get on a religious show. But I thought, there's no problem with me dropping David McCallum references from 1975, but a show that you guys would actually have had a chance of hearing from. I don't want to go there because I think it's too obscure. That's
fair enough.
Yeah, whatever. Do you see John Suntroy said that Belsario wanted to do a quantum leap where he jumps into Magnum?
Oh.
Fuck yeah, I want to see that.
That would have been great.
Bacula as Magnum as Bacula, dude.
I want to
do it.
I want to pay Jim Lee to draw that graphic novel now.
Dude, that would be like a face-off prequel, right? Where Bacula and Selleck just face off, you know?
It would have been too much. Too much. That's too much man for like to be contained on one TV screen. Both of them.
We were watching 3 Men and a Baby because we haven't, seen it in, 30 years. And my wife just goes in there and she's like, Tom Selleck's really good looking. I'm like, yeah, he is. Yep.
Yeah, how about that?
That's a really good point. Yep. Good job. I agree. What can I say?
Another guy who's out there on network TV. There's huge network TV shows now, guys, with like many seasons or a decade under their belt and stuff that I don't think the average Joe on the street even knows about. Like Tom Selleck's still on TV to this day, but like,
Oh yeah, he's in that cop show,
Blue Bloods.
Yeah,
shows like that. I was just thinking about how network TV just used to be such a. Say what you will about how it was. There used to be some pretty interesting stuff that did get put out there, and it is just a wasteland of just sameness, utter sameness overall out there for such an elderly seeming audience too. It just seems like a real decrepit.
Yeah. Like David Boreanaz is on what's it called, like SEAL Team or SEALs or something like that. Again, I think they just advertised their 8th season or something, and it's like, why? Why is this a thing?
Somebody's watching.
You were Angel, bro. What are you doing?
But that's kind of how I feel about Quantum Leap. It's like, why are you doing this stuff that's just so generic? I mean, the answer is everybody doing interesting stuff goes to the streamers, right?
It's true.
Because it either pays as well or maybe a little under, but you get so much prestige that you're like, ooh, HBO Max or whatever, And so why are you doing the same thing? Here's your chance to, boy, we always wanted to do network TV this way.
Right.
Here's your chance. Nobody's paying attention.
Right.
Anyway.
That's funny. Well, there's always going to be like procedurals. There's always going to be like hospital shows. You know, I wish we would bring back Westerns. I wish Westerns would come back. I love Westerns.
They're just too expensive. There are too many horses.
Are they?
Yeah.
Man.
That's the thing. If you're gonna do a Western, just give me a Cobb Vanth show in Star Wars.
Yeah, just give me the Mandalorian. In fact, just give me like
all shows should be the
Mandalorian, and I'll be happy.
We should try to get Baby Grogu into every show.
We should just talk about the Mandalorian.
Well, I did, and just think about how expensive it is to make any show. Like, think how expensive it is for any film thing, and then add in like teams of horses and their hands.
That's true.
And everything. It's like it seems like it takes it up a whole notch. And they're not as good anymore because they're not willing to just kill the horses anymore. They used to.
Yeah, that is a problem, right?
Or just drive those horses over a cliff.
Or the stuntman.
Cute horse. Yeah. And I mean, we are
telling me they made Spartacus not a. No.
And it would, we would get into some problematic areas when we have to massacre the Indians again. Anyway.
Oh man, it's always comes back to that. Tennis ball.
And that is actually probably quite a reasonable part of it. It's like so many Westerns that are such revisionist history. When you look back, you can't watch almost any of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Till you get to like Outlaw Josie Wales or stuff, whatever. What's the 70s when everyone was all anti-hero?
That's why I only watch Tombstone.
Tombstone is amazing. I mean, Tombstone is like top 5 movie all time. And like, it's just the corniest movie. I love it so much. Like, everything about that movie is just almost perfect.
You should keep going, because I was like, this is the one time I'm not going to try to interrupt John with some other point, because I agree with everything he's about to say.
I mean, the casting is great, right? The casting is great. And, I'll give it, look, the movie Wyatt Earp by what's his face? Dances with Wolves guy, released at basically the same time. It's like an hour longer. It actually covers Wyatt Earp's life as opposed to just Tombstone, OK Corral. It's more nuanced. It's got maybe better acting in it. But, man, Tombstone is just so much fun and awesome. And the good guys are sort of good, and the bad guys are very bad. And the ladies are drinking laudanum. And it's just, Johnny Ringo. I mean, come on. Michael Biehn is Johnny Ringo. Get out of here. He should win like an Oscar just for being like cast as that role. Like they're like, oh, looking at the casting sheets, like, oh, well, that guy's gonna win an Oscar. Just done. Next category. What's a bad movie? Has Michael Biehn ever done a bad movie? I mean, he's a guy like Fredo. Fredo's only done like 4 movies and then he died, and they're all like classic AFI top fucking 100 movies. Michael Biehn. Look, never been the star, the big Hollywood action star, but he just owns every single movie he's in. Every movie he's in, he just wrecks it. And then you get like the callback in Armageddon. Dude, the callback in Armageddon when he plays it, they don't say he's the same guy as he was in the Navy SEAL movie, but he's definitely playing the same guy as he was in the Navy SEAL movie. And he has that monologue, and he's like, we've all bled together. We've all lost men, but you can't do. And then they just rain shells down on him. And it's just like the most epic battle inside of the rock. Oh my God, dude. Crazy. Just crazy. Just a crazy movie.
I love that you said Armageddon.
Because I got Armageddon on the
brain, but I spent the whole time going
asteroid to go fuck
is
itself.
Michael Biehn in Armageddon?
No, I mean, how amazing would that be if he was in Armageddon?
Right?
You replace Luke Wilson with Michael Biehn, and that movie is just, it's already a top 5 movie.
Oh, I don't know.
Now it's a top 2 movie.
I don't know. I say this once a week, and I said it yesterday, so this is super fresh in my mind. But when they're strapping in Owen Wilson, and he's just got that like surfer babble going, And he's like, okay, look, all you had to do, worst environment imaginable. That's all you had to say.
That's all I had to say. And this whole
I
thing
said
is
that
like,
to my kid yesterday, man. I quote that all the time. And I don't think you're getting that line quite that way from Michael Biehn.
Yeah. Michael Biehn replaces the hard-ass Colonel guy. That's who Michael Biehn plays.
Fichtner's character?
That's who he replaces. And I like that guy.
I want to shake the hand of the bravest man I ever met. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for that guy to be replaced.
No,
I'm just saying Michael Biehn would replace that guy.
No, swap him. Michael Biehn, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next.
Michael Biehn, great man.
Recasting
Hugh would be
John
in Star Trek. That would be awesome.
I can't think of any good recent westerns since Revenant. Maybe was pretty good.
Sorry.
And what was that other one? What was that? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember now. There's so few and far between now. I just think it's not a sure thing genre anymore. Dude, it used to be that was it, right? Like that was the whole thing. Everything was westerns on. It was the superheroes of today were the westerns, right, in the 50s and 60s. So what did that say? Let me bring the conversation. Let me elevate the conversation for a moment, if I may. What does that say about our society? Like, if that metaphor was so strong then, and the superhero metaphor is so strong now, what is that? The fact that the superheroes are dominating, it's more than just Kevin Feige being a genius, because it's more than just Marvel, right? Like superhero as a genre, it dominated comics. It took them over. Where there's like a sanitized medium, like comics kind of came in and invaded, and then they came into the movies, and now they have done what I never imagined, like completely take it over. So what is that like? What does that say about our society? I think it says, I think it's a very like scary kind of fascist medium, the superhero medium genre in general, and that it's a very it's a dark sign for society that it's so strong in our.
The thing with superhero movies, the metaphor of the superhero movies is so interesting to me because it's you take the power, right? We're as a society, as a civilization, we're faced with these massive life-ending threats, and instead of us finding a solution, right? Like science fiction movies are usually about us, the people, finding a solution because the government fails in some way, right? Whether it's corrupt or inept, whatever, right? And then some random hero has to come in and do it, right? The superhero movies are quite the opposite, where it's we need someone from outside to come and save us, right? It's a very odd sort of messaging system, right? These are inhuman heroes, and I don't mean the Inhumans. I mean, we have the playboy millionaire philanthropist guy who's like, how many people actually like Elon Musk? Like if Elon Musk was like, I'm trying to save the world, he would get shot down on Twitter, and like people would be like, oh, Elon Musk smoked marijuana, we can't let him save the world, Or if like a literal like Nordic god showed up, people would be like, oh, this is an alien, we need to kill him. Like I just think it's a very weird sort of messaging. I don't know. What do you think, Larry?
I think it's because everyone has lost their love of Jesus, that this is the modern mythology pantheon of gods that
preach, brother.
You're looking to the outside for somebody to come help because shit's fucked.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
People need something. I just want to. I think it's it's the same shit with a different name, right? Just like your westerns, like all the best westerns I can think of the last little while, are like Justified. Is that a western? I guess not really. U.S. Marshals in the present day, but that's a fucking western. The Mandalorian. Pew pew, space ray guns. No, that's a western.
Yeah.
So there's lots of westerns going on. They're wearing different clothes. That's all.
Yeah.
Hateful Eight was the other one.
Hateful Eight. Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't remember who said it. I don't think it was Tarantino, but it was someone. It was someone like that. And they were saying, I read an interview, and this person said, Scorsese, Tarantino. It was somebody, and they said, America. It might have been John fucking Milius, but anyway, they said.
You need special effects for that.
America, yeah, right. The American storytelling borrows everything from everyone else except for two genres. There are two genres that are distinctively 100% American. It's westerns and it's mafia stories. And I always think about that, and I think it is John Milius who said that. But anyway, I always think of that because there's a really old academic tradition of this idea of the frontier, right? And the frontier defines what it is to be American, right? So America is not an ethnicity. America is not necessarily an ideology. America is not a religion. It is a struggle against the frontier, right? It's this movable action that we all go through together, right? So in 1898, when the Census Bureau declared that there was no more frontier, right? And Frederick Turner has this whole Frederick Jackson Turner has this whole frontier thesis about how can you say there's no more frontier? This is what makes us American, right? If there's no more frontier, what are we as Americans? And then you get things like space, the final frontier, underwater frontiers, right? Now we have all these different. We always need to put something in a way where we're positioning ourselves against a frontier because that's the American perspective. Right. And I always think of that with Westerns, right? Because the details don't matter, right? The setting can change. It's that ideological struggle against the frontier. Sometimes we like the frontier. Sometimes we hate the frontier. We fear the frontier. Sometimes we want to conquer the frontier. Sometimes the frontier pushes back, as Idris Elba says in Star Trek Beyond. But it is this idea of Americanness defined via its relationship to the frontier, right? Now, in Marvel movies and superhero movies, there is no frontier. The frontier is this unknown world-ending event that we're going to defeat in Act 3. So I think that's always an interesting thing that removes them from any consideration of putting them. You know, you can put Western affectations in there. You know, you can do whatever. You can give them pistols. They're still never going to be Westerns, right? In the way that the Mandalorian is Western, because he is in a spaceship, but he's still fighting against that unknown frontier of the Star Wars galaxy.
So that reminds me, and I know you're going to agree with this, we got to add in for our best Westerns that aren't Westerns is For All Mankind.
Yes.
Like, oh my God. I mean, if you need it, it's Kennedy's Space Frontier. That's all.
Yeah,
anyway.
It's great. Yeah. Should we talk about Andor? I mean, is that something we should talk about? Because
I've seen it 3 times.
I finally
I
got up early the other day and I watched Andor while everybody was asleep, and it was awesome. I loved it.
Wasn't that great?
It was great.
I've only saw the first episode. I fell asleep, but that's more a comment on me than it is on the show.
Yeah, no, it's slow. It's plotting. It's dark. It's dingy. There's no action, like big action spectacle. It's a bunch of like subtle political problems and a guy just trying to survive. It's great. I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's like all the cool, French Connection movies.
Yeah.
Dog Day Afternoon. It's like every cool detective 1970s thing in terms of tone and vibe, and just there's some Star Wars in it. I'm like,
wasn't Tony Gilroy the guy that they got to bring in at the end of Rogue One?
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I heard a podcast with Tony Gilroy, and he was bashing Rogue One so hard. He was like, yeah, I came in and they basically had me rewrite the whole ending because it was stupid and sucked. And everyone in there just wanted to fucking jerk off to Star Wars. And I came in and I don't give a shit about Star Wars. And that's why I made it good, And
well, that's all true.
Right, well,
yeah.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
There we go.
But that's probably why he has something to say about Andor as a character, right?
Yeah, right. That's if you're making an anti-Star Wars movie, that's the guy you want, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I like it.
Check plus.
Yeah, I say this as someone who I don't particularly like Rogue One. I mean, it's fine, but it has way too many issues for me personally. Like I know a lot of people love it, and it's like, oh, it's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I'm like, anyway, we can get into that later. But I also don't really like the character of Cassian Andor, because again, he's boring as hell in that movie. But here I am. I fucking love Andor. I love the show. Give me more. Give me more Diego Luna, please. And keep Kathleen Kennedy away from making decisions. Just bring in the money. Look, I am Team Kathy. I've been defending Queen Kathy for years now, and I'm just so sick of her and her inability to understand what makes Star Wars great.
Yeah, it's weird.
It drives me nuts. This isn't rocket science. This is Star Wars, right? How hard is it to write a Rogue Squadron movie? How hard is it? I'm still on this. I bitched about this on Facebook like a week ago. I'm still on it. Like, it still occupies my brain when I'm in the bathroom. Like, it's crazy.
Dan looks
how hard is it?
Dan looks like a bartender.
Top Gun just remade Star Wars, but with F-14s. Now we can't even make a Star Wars movie. It drives me insane. It drives me insane.
Dan looks like a bartender who is just now making the decision that this guy's cut off.
Okay, enough for this guy.
I only have one thing to say.
Spelled backwards.
That's all I know, guys. What I think though is that they had to release the 3 episodes because that first episode alone, it wouldn't make you want to come back. Like, it didn't suck me in that way. Admittedly, I didn't see the whole thing, but
I agree with you.
I honestly think
it's a story. Yeah.
I honestly think that that's intentional and it was baked into it. That he's like, oh, I get 90 minutes to do my origin. Like, and if somebody just watches the first one and falls asleep, that's on them. The story as presented right now is like a little movie, and then we're gonna have the rest of the show. Because who's the guy that, Eric Selvig from Thor? The guy, he doesn't show up until the 2nd episode. Like, a main character doesn't show up.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know. I just, I think people need to interact with this stuff in the context under which it is presented and not under what they assume how it had happened to be presented. You know what I mean? That, like, everybody's like, well, I want to know how the sausage is made. But, like, no, you don't.
Like, why? Why do you want to know?
Yeah.
Why do you want to know how this all? Unless you're interested in being someone behind the scenes, like, why do you give a shit? You know? Anyway.
Right. I agree.
Right.
Next.
All right. Next episode.
Okay, so wait a minute. So we got one real piece of real life sci-fi space action that's happening right now, right? I took some heat for saying we lost the space race. Maybe I was a little bit ahead because I'm pretty impressed by the DART mission right now and what just went on, like that they were able to do that. Although maybe I shouldn't be that impressed by it.
The thing that I find super impressive is just all the math involved, right? They had a plot of a comet.
That's all it is, really. Yeah.
And then they know how fast they're going to launch the satellite. And then they just do the math backwards. And they're like, okay, if we do it now, this is going to happen 10 years from now.
Yeah.
But, like, in the middle of fucking nowhere, millions of miles away. Like, so it's like shooting a bullet at a duck 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I think that's bananas impressive.
And to take a quick aside, this is one of the reasons people like The Expanse so much, because The Expanse does the math and, like, it's part of the plot. So it's like, I don't want to give anything away, but, like, when 2 ships have to rendezvous, they'll literally have a quick scene and be like, okay, we need to figure out the math of this situation, right? So it just makes it feel more real. But the DART thing is interesting because on Saturday evening here in planet Earth, we saw a UFO. And the governments and the news agencies are proclaiming that it was a SpaceX launch out of Florida that landed in Florida. Now, I live very, very north of Florida, and this thing was not in Florida. It was streaming across the sky at a very slow trajectory, very slow vector, right? And we just watched it, and it was a mass thing. It was all over Twitter. It was all over the news. People in Nag's Head were commenting on it. People in Boston were commenting on it. This thing was not a fucking SpaceX thing. I don't give a shit. Or if it was a SpaceX thing, it wasn't the one that they're talking about. It wasn't the one they're saying. So then we have a few days later, NASA is successfully testing a satellite disabling ability of theirs. Now, look, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happens for a reason. And I think that we're in a situation now where we have to admit that we already know UFOs are real. Everyone knows this. Like, the government literally studies extra terrestrial vehicles, like, regularly, right? I used to live down in the Hampton Roads area, where we have the largest Navy base in the entire world, and it was common knowledge that there was just UFOs there all the time, right? So Joe Rogan has his interview with the guy off the West Coast rather, and the guys on the East Coast see the same stuff. They just see it with a lot more frequency. So we have a situation where the New York Times, in the middle of the pandemic, decides to put out the story that UFOs are real, and aliens are real, and everything is true. And those of us who have been called crazy our whole lives are no longer crazy. We were actually the ones who were seeing the world through a they live prism. So now we have a situation where we saw a UFO the other day. Now we are looking at asteroid stopping technology, or should I say object stopping technology. And we don't know if it was successful. They haven't told us if it was successful or not. All they told us is that they did it. So the question for you guys is, how fucked are we? Are we A, this is a multiple choice question. Are we A, super fucked, B, hilariously fucked, or C, they're actually on our side and they're going to save us from ourselves?
I have an answer for you, John.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer to this thing is I don't believe there's aliens going on at all.
Well,
These things, I believe these UFO sightings are sightings, but what they are, there's a lot of things that it could be. And I think my number one thing that it most likely, if I could use Occam's razor on this thing, it's going to tell me that it's maybe some other country has developed technology that as a quantum leap has quantum leap, just like we quantum leap other countries. Like, that's destined to happen to the United States too. And somebody could come up with a thing that will change the balance of power overnight with one like sub light speed attack on Washington, DC or something like that. And like the whole dynamics of power of the entire earth could shift.
Well, let me ask you, who do you think it might be? Because we've seen how hilariously inept and incompetent Russia actually is, right? And the Chinese are playing small ball. It's like in the Patriot, aim small, miss small. They're playing small ball right now. They want Taiwan, and they're going to do anything they can to get Taiwan.
Speaking of Occam's razor, though, the most obvious answer is that it's not somebody here, because they would own everyone else, right? If you had cloaking technology and stop in time, lost time technology, and triangle shit that no one, dude, that is in control of a nation. That nation would rule the planet, right? We wouldn't be talking about like, ooh, is this real?
It would already have happened. If that technology existed, they would already be dominating. I think
so we know it's not us, because that doesn't make sense.
The other option I've seen, the only thing that I've ever seen that really, I saw some pretty legit debunking on the visual effects channel, that Corridor Crew channel. They actually took a lot of that footage and applied some of their knowledge of how you make how you make effects and what type of visual artifacts could produce some of these videos. And they had some pretty reasonable explanations for at least the couple major ones, like the pill-shaped object and some of the triangle-shaped ones and stuff like that, that made a lot of sense, especially the triangle.
So they discount just like visual evidence as well, like firsthand accounts?
Well, you'll have to watch it. That stuff.
I just like, yeah, okay. So they debunk some stuff. What about the stuff I haven't been? You know what I mean?
Well, right, but but don't you think that same case is to be made? Like, if these things were on Earth, and they had this kind of power to just do what they're doing, couldn't the same thing be said? Like, wouldn't they be dominating the Earth or controlling us, or at least like being more brazen even in their?
Well, which theory do you ascribe to? I mean, there's a lot of competing theories as to why that might be. I personally like the one that the Greys are just humans from the future, and they're just coming back and checking on us for whatever
Space
reason.
tourism.
Yeah, I'll take that one. I think that's kind of cool.
To me, maybe we're all living in a simulation. That's the one that rings the most true to me, and that these are glitches in the programming and or like the next level that we're leveling up as a human, because probably we're just somebody running on some kid's PC in the super distant future, right, where they can literally simulate all of our lives and all of these like crazy inventions and passions and ideas and stuff. Like, just that's what many people say is likely. Like, it'll be so
it's likely
easy.
I've heard that, but I've heard it.
No, I've heard it.
Well, I don't understand how they can say it's likely that we're a computer program.
Because if you say it's a given that we're going to be able to simulate, like computers are going to be powerful enough to make these kind of simulations, then it stands to reason that there will be a lot of them out there, and that the likelihood of us actually living in one of those things could be more likely than us living in the actual physical universe.
I don't know, man. I played The Sims. It's not that, it's not that detailed.
But we're not that far away either. That's the scary thing, is it's not too much further, like with...
it'll be very further when the Greys come and annihilate us, and NASA can't stop it.
I don't know.
Grim, dude.
I don't know. I sent away for my planetary defense patches just today, so...
Nice.
I'll be it's fun. Nice, Randy.
Nice.
Well, the thing is, I'm one of the. I kind of don't think that cracking the speed of light is likely possible. So I just don't think we're ever going to see aliens in like advanced species aliens in our life.
Sure.
The idea, especially with a very common idea right now, is that they have propulsion that operates just completely foreign and alien in a way that they're not breaking the speed of light, but they're also just in a propulsion system that isn't combustion. It's based on warping time and space. And there's what is it? Element 115 is supposed to be the kind of thing that did that. And the Bob Lazar documentary it's a weird documentary because
I was just gonna say somebody's been reading their Lazar.
It's narrated by the guy, whatever his name is. So it's a very weird kind of narration. But I highly recommend. I don't care if you like Joe Rogan or not, but I highly recommend Bob Lazar Joe Rogan interview, because he just lets Bob Lazar talk, and when you let him tell his story, right? And as an historian, the first thing you want to do is you want to let people tell their story, and then you go in, then you do your analysis. So if anyone out there is interested, I highly recommend. Again, don't care if you like Joe Rogan or whatever. Like, it's not about Joe Rogan. It's listening to Bob Lazar.
I watched that interview, or a lot of it, and I thought, I've read a lot of conflicting stuff about that guy as well. About he's freaking a janitor. The guy really didn't have anything at all to do with the propulsion lab. So I don't know what to think.
But at the same time, there's enough conflicting evidence to not have a conclusion, in my opinion, right? Where it's like there's enough evidence on this side, there's enough evidence on this side, and if you pick this side, maybe this side is just government disinformation. And if you pick this side, maybe we're all just crazy and want this to be true, right? So it's very weird. But again, I mean, listen to, you always want to go to the source, whether you agree with them or not, whatever. As an historian of Earth history for the Federation, you always want to go to the source.
So you would say that the declassification of this stuff and the fact that they've been releasing these stories is to prepare us for the truth?
I don't know if it's to prepare us. I don't think there's some grand, Klaatu moment coming, but I do think that it's not a coincidence in the middle of a global pandemic when everything was going to hell and no one was paying attention, they released a bunch of documents. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think they're very good at when they should disseminate information.
It feels like a psyop to me to justify more military spending. That's
I mean, there's no. You always justify more military spending. Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's the thing. They can go like, "Look, we don't know what these things are. They're unknown threats. What are you going to do? We got to."
But it's the nature of the threats, right? Of course, like I'll grant you that they're always going to want more money for unknown threats, right? But it's the nature of the threats. And actually, of all fucking people, Tom DeLonge, of all people, the fucking Blink-182 guy who writes pop songs about being 16. He has been instrumental in getting people together. He just throws his money and resources at this, and he had put together through the I think it's Through the Stars Academy or something like that, and he just puts together these resources and has gotten the government to declassify quite a lot of stuff. Now, again, are we going to trust the government to declassify stuff? I don't know. But anyway,
I just feel like there's a reason. Like, why do they release? Like, there's so many things that are supposed to that we want to have released. That would be great. Like, why if they have yet to like make any admissions as far as I've seen, like other than like these spottings have existed. We have some footage taken from aircraft carriers, like off of cell phones and stuff like that. That's like the extent that the Pentagon has admitted to anything, right? Like there's no talk of advanced propulsion systems or
no. All that stuff, the latest stuff is from gun cameras, right? It's not from somebody's cell phone.
Radars.
So they're just the fact that they released all that stuff admits that they had it, right? So that and it's did you listen to all the audio of the pilots going, "This is not flying in ballistic motion. I don't know what the fuck this is." Like that's
and I mean pilots. I mean
that's the most credible stuff to me is the pilots,
right? And pilots have been talking about this. I mean, the phrase "Foo Fighters" comes from World War II, seeing UFOs in the air, being like, not that many people have airplanes right now, and these guys are flying circles around us. Like, what the heck's going on here? Now, nature is weird. Nature is a very weird place. There are a lot of things that happen in nature that are unexplainable to a non-scientific mind or an unknowing mind, right? There are reasons why we have great myths about nature gods, right? So I'm not saying that every single instance is, ET coming home, but I think there's a lot of evidence out there, and I think it's not a coincidence. I think the government knows what they're doing when it comes to declassifying things and not declassifying things, and when they do it. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to seeing Lower Decks this week and catching up on that. And
I wish that Trump had just thought about it because he's allowed to declassify anything just by
right. Trump of all people. Fine. Political incoming. The only positive thing about Trump that I was looking forward to was, hey, we're finally going to find everything about UFOs.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah. Come on. The guy has no filter on his mouth. He doesn't give a shit about the security of the country. And what's he going to do? He's going to be like, oh, yeah, we got UFOs. It's a Brooklyn Trump.
It's hilarious. Any other president, you look at those pictures from before they were president and afterwards, and it's like, they gained years of worrying and like tense, like and the old gag they took him in and they gave him the secrets. They told him all this crazy secret, and it's just like emotionally destroyed them or whatever. Trump, it just rolled off he looks better than he did his first day in office.
He was on his deathbed with COVID, and somehow he got better.
Amazing. The guy is robust. If nothing else.
Anyway. So I'm really looking forward to Lower Decks this week, and
I think it's cool that people who like Star Trek, right, science fiction, are like super into the conspiracy stuff, UFOs, Bigfoot. I'm really surprised none of that cryptozoology came up. Like, I love all that shit.
I do too.
The Triangle, Philadelphia Experiment. Like, it's because it's just like, oh, here's like parallel universe science fiction. Right? Like maybe this is the other stuff that happened in the other dimension over.
I agree, but I love that stuff, but I am hyper skeptical of it because what I'm waiting for is I've never been presented with, maybe I just haven't seen it, but the evidence that is just like irrefutably like here's the proof. Like Bigfoot, you know, it's I live in Bigfoot country. There's a big industry in the myth of Bigfoot, and I believe that that's more real than the reality of the Sasquatch, right?
Well, that's always
well, I
true,
can
right?
talk
The
a
myth
lot
is
about
more real than the
cryptozoology
reality.
next episode. I can tell you that.
Say it again, John.
I can talk quite a bit about cryptozoology on the next episode because I actually have a cryptozoological investigative company.
That's why I brought it
That's
up.
not a joke. It's not a joke.
I know. I brought it up. The cryptozoology thing.
Yep.
Holy cow! I didn't know that.
Yep. I'm
Oh,
an
Wait a minute. That sound means
Speaking of conspiracy, what a coincidence!
Trying to shut us
It's time
down.
for us to go. Shut down John.
yeah. That sound means that Dr. Dron is trying to hip us to things that just the man doesn't want us to know. But the good news is that we will be back next week. And we like our new time slot, right, John? You think it's going to be doable?
I love it. I love this time slot. I hope our audience likes this time slot. And if you have to watch us, not live, that's cool too. Yeah.
Well, maybe you get one of those little magnet key things, John. Maybe, right? And you put it on the car, and it's just like, that'll help. Although I don't have one. God knows I've been in those kind of situations. So we didn't begrudge you. We were just happy that you're back in the fold and that you're going to be back on a regular basis, right? We're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
Sick.
Back and better than ever.
Okay.
Hitting those bees.
I had some video for us to go out on. I think I got something for us today. But anyway, we're going to be back. Holy cow. Next week on Tuesday. Dr. John, you haven't been here in a while, so why don't you tell us all where it's going to be?
Where are we going to be? We're going to be on the internet.
This is Tobor. Tobor, the telesonic robot. Batteries not included. He's under your control. With a click from the telesonic commander, to circle. To proceed forward, to circle. Or to pick up the support module and return, all on your command. Tobor is robot spelled backwards. Tobor, the telesonic robot from Shopper.